today we need to talk about Felix from Stray Kids and the absolute craziness that has happened. We need to get into Suga and his military situation, and then we have Jung Kook apologizing for something. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Hate it or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumplings, he's spilling mug merch, and let's go. We need to talk about Stray Kids. They are definitely the it group to look out for. I feel like they have made a big stride already, and if you're aware of K-pop and listen to it to any degree, you know Stray Kids by now. And of course, their rise to fame was not very much a quiet one. I feel like with BTS and even TXT, their rise to fame started a lot more quiet, and then it grew to a very loud one where everyone was talking about them at once. Stray Kids, I feel like, has been talked about pretty consistently through the start of their career due to their very well-produced music videos and larger-than-life performances. They are definitely catching people's attention. With that said, of course, there's going to be attention that is not great. I think due to the nature of the world right now, people are not in the best mental space. And I mean that in a concerning way and less of a mocking way, because what I'm about to get into is a bit triggering, and I'm also genuinely concerned if a person actually thinks like what I'm about to talk about. So I believe Stray Kids is having an offline fan sign in China. So this is not a performance, I believe, but just a fan sign, because K-pop idols are not really allowed to perform in China. And just a side note, China's market is very big with many people, and those people have tremendous loyalty to brands and products. And since Chinese people tend to have a lot of money, it's no wonder the government would be so protective about other markets coming in, because if they do, those businesses and brands can possibly even reach millionaire or billionaire status overnight. But anywho, Felix has been in trouble recently after the announcement of said fan sign. A post on Weibo, Chinese social media, went viral after claiming that they were going to buy a laser pointer and blind Felix. The post claimed that Felix has hurt the other member, Hyunjin, and thus the fan wants to take action into their own hands. Where is this hurt coming from? What proof do we have that Hyunjin is in danger of Felix? In many situations in which there is actually bullying in a group, the general audience is the last to know. This is why a lot of the bullying scandals within K-pop groups are so shocking. This alleged person on Weibo continues to write in detail what they will do to Felix, and fans began protesting to JYP to let JYP know that they need to stop this from happening. But I really don't think this will be an issue, because anyone who is dumb enough to write their plan on what they'll do will not be able to execute it, because the label will now be more cautious of it. So anyone who pulls out anything that looks like a laser at the fan sign is probably going to get tackled. The issue I'm struggling with is what is going on in this person's personal life that they are looking for this type of attention online. There's so many ways to go viral on social media, and also going viral in China just like happens. There's so many people using social media, and the way things go viral in China is like 10 times easier than it is on American TikTok. So I don't understand why they need to do this. So then the only other option I can think of as to why they're doing this is because they actually really think they're defending Hyunjin from Felix. And it's like, if there is even an issue there, why would Hyunjin need your protection? To be that invested into someone who you don't even know, and then also make up a scenario in your head, but then kill someone over a fantasy, I really do hope labels and people are taking these things seriously and having them in a mental institution or something, because these people should not be allowed to just roam about the world. Which, by the way, I have been loving checking out and watching more Stray Kids on Patreon. I have reacted to so many Stray Kids videos and their reality shows over on Patreon. If you're interested, we have a $1 tier with limited spots that is still open, so I'll link that in the description. Hope you join us there. Fans have been very excited for just the sheer amount of content that is about to come from all their favorite groups and specific members. For example, ARMYs are very interested in this idea that Jung Kook is having his comeback. I did get a chance to look over his live stream for a little bit where he talks about the album. He mentions that we should not be upset that it's only a single right now, and that he is working on an album. So we will get a full album, not just a single. And Jung Kook was doing a lot during this stream. Jung Kook was exercising while singing, and that was just a lot of fun to watch. We got to see Jung Kook doing pull-ups while talking about the single 7. I am very very excited about this single, and it seems like he is definitely very excited to have us all listen to it. When Jung Kook was doing pull-ups, he did 15, but as he did 14, he shouted release on the 14th, implying that the song 7 will be released on the 14th. One specific thing that I want to address was a piercing that he got. Jung Kook then said something interesting was that he knows that ARMYs hate it when he changes his appearance. And I think that is a bit crushing to hear, because a lot of ARMYs in the fandom have tried really hard to make sure that Jung Kook feels welcomed and feels like he could do whatever he wants. And then of course, doing whatever he wants would mean he could make those changes that are likely not being forced by anyone and something that he wants to do without getting criticized over it. His body, his choice, and it's sad to know that he possibly didn't want to show his tattoo or be open about getting piercings because he was scared of the backlash. He then went ahead and apologized for getting a lip piercing, and I think this is a different one from the old one, but it's hard to see in the stream. But Jung Kook then explained why he was doing all this, and his explanation is quite interesting. Jung Kook talks about how he feels like he is so ordinary looking and round looking that needs to change up those specific features in order to stand out. Jung Kook has mentioned in the past about his hair health, and so bleaching his hair isn't really something he can do. And I get this as an idol. There's choices that an idol has to make in order to stand out from the general public. Him having all these tattoos already makes him stand out a lot more. Things like piercings and tattoos, if you stand 100 feet away from Jung Kook, you're still going to notice those things and know that it's Jung Kook. But you might think it's okay if he looks normal, I'd still recognize him. And so what's the big deal? A lot of K-pop idols have had this experience where if they're just going back to their black hair and normal everyday look, they almost never get recognized in public, and that's good to a degree. But as an artist, it's also not great, because there's times where you might want a crowd of people to acknowledge that you're somewhere because it might drum up publicity for an upcoming comeback. But also, being recognized in public or stared at in public would signify that the specific look does generate attention, which would be good for a comeback. So that was an interesting thing that he talked about, and I'm glad he did. There's a lot of other members that also looked somewhat similar to Jung Kook, like around her face or whatever, and they don't always feel the need to do things like piercings or tattoos. So I am hoping this isn't an insecurity thing. But there's been a lot of conversation about Suga, and Suga is about due to go to the military. He is 30 now, and people are upset that Suga has not enlisted, and there's actually been quite a few theories. First off, people are upset and blaming Suga. They say that in recent concerts, Suga has talked about BTS coming back together as 7 in the near future. Many people were upset by this due to the reason that if Suga does not enlist soon, that 2025 date of a BTS reunion will likely not happen, because the members need at least a year and a half of enlistment, and it's past the half-year mark now, so if Suga does enlist soon, he would be back by 2026, possibly. However, this is still a weird theory, as several members still have not enlisted, so if Suga does come back in 2026, the other members still would have not come back yet. So you can't put that blame entirely on Suga, and you can't really put the blame on anyone. All the members have yet to finish their solo, and people, including myself, would be quite upset if they decided to enlist without doing that. The second theory as to why he is not going is that people think he's exempt. There's rumors going around that Suga is exempt because of health issues and also his shoulder, right? He would not be able to fight or perform the same way as other soldiers. Even something as simple as maybe a tactical march or a climbing thing would be difficult for Suga to do. So there were theories as to him being a social worker for the time being or being entirely exempt. I don't think he will be entirely exempt. However, him being a social worker is very likely, and who knows, maybe he's actually doing social work right now. The government claimed that BTS is still allowed to work when they're enlisted. So if Suga can do the office work remotely or just go into the office a couple times a week, he could still tour and be currently enlisted. I think you can look that up and see if they are. I doubt Suga actually is, but this is just a fun theory that I'm throwing out. But the point is, anything can happen, and I don't like that people are talking about Suga in this way, making him look bad. Suga will go, and when he has to go, and this is why the 2025 date should never be followed this closely. It should just have been a guideline, because things do come up and delays happen. The one thing you can count on in entertainment is that something will go wrong. I don't know why, but something always does. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.